One of the most important things the Soviet army was faced with was the questionable combat value of the BMP-1 and the BMP-2 infantry fighting vehicles. The BMP-2 underwent several trials in the late 1970s and entered service in the early 1980s, and shortly after, the Soviets were already considering developing a replacement for it. Not because the BMP-2 was bad, I mean, it's still in service in the Russian army and we've seen it on the front lines in Ukraine. They actually wanted to replace it because they wanted something with even better battlefield survivability and on top of that, something rather new and unseen. They wanted multi-purpose firepower, and that project eventually resulted in the creation of the BMP-3. Hello and welcome to the Bobi and Tanks YouTube channel, and enjoy this video about the Soviet BMP-3 infantry fighting vehicle. Even though it was kinda lengthy, the development of the BMP-3 was pretty straightforward, unlike the ones of the BMP-2, which I already made a video about. The development of the BMP-3 started in the 1970s at the Kurganmash Plant Design Bureau in Kurgan and continued until the late 1980s. But before we actually talk about the BMP-3, let's quickly look at its predecessors. First, we have the Object 685, a light tank which we even have in War Thunder, and it's an awesome vehicle which I recommend you to play. Anyways, the Object 685 was an experimental amphibious vehicle which was designed to replace the PT-76 light tank. It had a rather advanced design and excellent firepower with its 100mm cannon, which actually was a heavily modified D-10T gun, which can also be seen in the T-54-55, but still it was not accepted into service. Besides Object 685, there was another attempt to build the next Soviet armored fighting vehicle. This was the Object 688, which was also an experimental IFV. It was well armored for an IFV because it could withstand 30mm Soviet armor-piercing rounds at a range of 200 meters or more. But that's not the interesting thing about it. The real innovation here was the external weapons mount, with a 30mm 2A42 cannon, an automatic AGS-17 grenade launcher, a 7.62mm machine gun, and two launchers for 9 and 113 concourse missiles. Two prototypes were built in 1981, but the turret was not seen as acceptable. It was removed from the design and replaced by the newly developed 2K23 turret module. The 2K23 turret was built by the KBP Design Bureau in Tula. It was very heavily armed with its 10mm 2A70 gun paired with a 30mm 2A72 automatic gun and a missile launcher. Soviet multi-purpose at its finest. One of the most important features of the BMP-2 and the BMP-3 is that they are both able to elevate their guns enough to engage enemy helicopters. Therefore, the 2K23 turret provided a gun elevation of 60 degrees and a gun depression of -6 degrees. The vehicle would carry 40 rounds for its 100mm gun, 530mm rounds and 8 guided missiles. The weapons were stabilized by a 2E52-2 stabilizer. The vehicle in this configuration weighed 18.7 tons and had a crew of 3 men, a commander, a gunner and a driver. The gunner and the commander were located in the turret. As it's an IFV, we can't forget to transport soldiers as well, so therefore there's room for 9 soldiers in the back of the IFV. But all this armament and these heavily armed people brought extra weight to the IFV, and that was why it was powered by a strong 500 horsepower UTD-29 engine to carry all this weight around. And the engine was located in the rear of the vehicle and allowed the IFV to go up to 70 km an hour or roughly 43 miles per hour. It could also swim in the water with a maximum speed of 10 km an hour. This vehicle received the designation of Object 688M, but later received the name under which it is known today, the BMP-3. The newly created BMP-3 was tested between 1983 and 1986 with very good results. In the beginning there were a few debates though. Some Soviet officials saw the heavy armament as a problem. They found that the size of the BMP-3's guns was unprecedented for this class of vehicle and would attract a lot of attention on the battlefield, which is not what an IFV would want considering the fact that it's carrying 9 troops as well. However, the supporters of the BMP-3 still won and the trials continued. In 1985, field trials in which 4 prototypes took part were held all over the Soviet Union, in Kubinka, Smolino, Central Asia and in Armenia. 2 other vehicles also participated in amphibious trials in the Sevastopol Bay. The sea conditions were extremely difficult, but the vehicles proved themselves capable of swimming even on stormy seas while maintaining their accuracy of fire. During one particular trial, the task was to fire at a T-55 tank standing on the shore. The tank was fully loaded with external tools and stowage bins, and the BMPs had to shoot with their 30mm gun at a distance of 1,500 meters while swimming. The testers assumed that the external components of the T-55 would receive some light damage, but they were completely wrong. Instead of lightly damaging the exterior, the BMPs managed to completely rip away everything that wasn't firmly attached to the surface of the tank. The sides were also completely destroyed, the gun was penetrated in 4 places, and the upper frontal plate was cracked. All of this just by firing the 30mm fire of the BMP. Quite obviously, the trials were a success for the BMP-3. The BMP-3 was officially accepted into service in 1987, but still some final trials took place from March 1988 until May 1989. It was officially shown to the public for the first time during the 1990 Victory Day parade. Unlike the BMP-1 and the BMP-2, the BMP-3 wasn't used in a lot of conflicts. Several were used during the First Chechen War and an unknown number was destroyed. They are also being deployed in Yemen in Saudi Arabian use, and several have been lost. But anyway, that was all I had to say for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you think I said anything that is not right, or you think I should have added any additional information to this video, please let me know in the comments and share your knowledge. Besides that, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.